this tutorial, I will be walking through the steps for setting up your creator account to the sine.space virtual world platform. So the first thing I need to do is come to sine.space in a browser and create a new account. And so I'm going to join free, and I'm going to create a name, which is going to be Rowan Test AV4, and I'll pick an avatar, put in an email, create a password, prove that I'm not a robot, accept the terms of service, and join. Okay, so now that I'm doing that, you'll see that it's going to log me into the the virtual world itself. But that's not really what I want to do next. What I want to do is validate my email. So I'm going to come to my email account here. You can see now I've been asked to validate my email address, confirming my name there. Click this, and that just confirms that the email has been validated. And now what I want to do is download and install Unity. Now, in the documentation you've been provided with, you should have the link for the Unity download page. I'm actually going to download version 5.3.5, which happens to be the version that the platform itself is running on. 5.4 is stable, so you can download any of these if you want to. I'm going to use the one that's exactly the same, but 5.4, 5.36 or 5.35 will all work. It's the same process for Mac, Linux or PC. I happen to be on a PC. If you are running Mac or Linux, you do need to also have Mono installed. Again, there's a note on that in the documentation. But so I'm going to come here to the Windows download, and it's important that when you are downloading this, use the Unity installer, which is an installation application that will get downloaded to your desktop. You can download the Unity editor just in 64 or 32-bit here, but it won't automatically include what's called the desktop build module, which you require. So if you go to the Unity installer here, you'll see it launches a little executable file. And I'm not actually going to go through all of this because I do actually have it all installed already. But as you go through the Unity installer, you'll see here it comes to all of the options of what you can include. You don't actually need to change any of this, but I'm just showing you it does include Windows build support. That's what you need. You can, if you want to, install the WebGL build, the iOS build, the Android build. However, the processing of your content for WebGL, for Android, for iOS, all happens on our servers. So you don't need to have any of those installed, but you do need the Windows build. So as you go through this process, you'll see it's already ticked. You just need to click Next and it will install. I'm actually not going to do that because I have it installed already, but that shows you the process to go through. So now what I'm going to do is open Unity. And when you first open it, you get a panel that shows you any existing projects you have and allows you to create new projects. I've got a load of existing ones here, but in the top bar here of the Unity sign-in panel, I've got a new button in the top right. I'm going to click that, create a new Unity project. I'm going to call it Space Demo, and I'm going to make it 3D, and I'm going to create the project. So that will open Unity. Now, for those of you not familiar with Unity because you're coming from other virtual worlds or you haven't worked with it in the past, Unity is a game engine. It's one we've been working with for about 7 years. And as with quite a lot of applications like this, there are different views. All of our video tutorials, including this one and all the ones on how to create a region, how to create clothes, how to create gestures, so on and so forth, I'm using this layout where I've got my scene and my game window next to each other there, and then I've got on the side here the hierarchy panel here in the middle, which shows me what assets I have inside the scene itself. Then a project file here, which currently has nothing in it, but if I save this scene as test scene, you'll see it then gets created as an asset there. And then the inspector here on the right-hand side, which shows the settings and attached components for any object that you happen to be looking at. So for instance, with this camera, I can see that there's a blue background and so on and so forth. These are the parameters relating to this object. The light I can see, I can change the color and so on and so forth. So that's a basic overview of the layout. This layout that I've chosen here, if you want the same layout that I'm using, you go to Window, Layouts, and it is the 2x3 layout. The default one I don't like very much. It's marginally different. It puts some other puts some of the windows in different places. But the one I use, if you want to use the same one as me, is the 2x3 layout. Okay. So now what I want to do is import the Space Virtual World Editor Pack into Unity. You should have been given a link to download this. It's a Unity file and it contains all of our components and tools that allows you to use the Unity game engine to assemble regions and submit regions and virtual goods of all sorts of kinds to the Space Virtual World. So to import the editor pack, I go to Assets here in the top menu bar on the left-hand side. I go Import Package, and then I go to Custom Package. And now I'm just going to find that package, which is here. So I've got Editor Pack 6, and I'm going to import this. And so Unity is now going to unpack this package, which is, in a way, it's a bit like a zip folder. It contains lots of other components, and before I import it, it's going to show me everything that's inside the package that I'm importing. With this package, I want to import everything. Sometimes if you are importing content from the Unity Asset Store, maybe you're buying some components that you want to use to create your region, some terrain or some trees or whatever it may be, you might look through that window and untick the scripted objects. You'll see in later tutorials that those you don't want inside your project. But this package that I'm importing now, I want all of it. Okay, so here we can see that window, and these are all the objects that you're about to import into the project folder here, project directory. And you can see it's a combination of FBX files and images and code that compromises our toolkit. So I'm going to import all of this. It will take a few minutes. Good, so that is now imported. It took a little bit longer because there's quite a lot of content to bring in. But you can see now I've got a load of project folders here. And most of these you don't need to dip into ever, it's just the system code. But there is an artist project folder here that has a few templates and components that you might use as a starting point. You'll see those explained in the other tutorials. Generally speaking, as a piece of good housekeeping, what I tend to do is create my own folder in here and then put all of my project work in there separate from all of these system folders. So I'm going to create a new folder just by right-clicking in the project window here and going Create Folder, and I'm going to call this Rowan Projects. And that test scene that I created, I'm going to drag in there. So now you can see that's there. And if you want to import assets from your desktop, like maybe you've got some FBX files or some texture files or whatever, you can just right-click on any folder and show in Explorer. And now you can see I can drop files into here. And you will see that every time you add a file, Unity will create another file with the same name and then meta attached to it. You don't need to pay any attention to those. That's just Unity's description of whatever file you've added. If, for instance, you import a PNG file, you might set some settings internally here. It might treat it as a normal texture or a sprite, and whatever settings you apply to it will be saved in that meta file. Okay, so the other thing that you will see once you've run that import is that there is a space menu item suddenly in the top menu bar up here, which is where some of our tools are accessed. The rest you will find in amongst these as components that you attach to your work as you're creating scenes and virtual goods. But the first thing that I need to do, having installed the editor pack, is come up here and just one time do install editor pack settings. So from the space menu bar that I now have in the top menu of Unity, I'm clicking on install editor pack settings, which is an instant process. Installed editor pack settings. Okay, and now I'm also going to space menu item in the top menu bar, and I'm going to upload settings, and I click on upload settings, and here you can see now one of those folders has opened and is exposing a component in the inspector window here on the right, and this is where I'm logging in with the same account that I just created at the sine.space website. So I'm putting in my username, which was RowanTestAV4, and my password, and I log in. And because this is the first time I've logged in with this new account that I've created, I'm being asked to add my real name, the name of my business if I have one, which I do, and my address, and I'm also being asked to sign the end user license agreement, which you can see here. And so I'm going to tick that I accept that. And now you can see my account is linked. You can see the key that they've given me is valid, and I have a creator ID. So again, that's a one-time process. That's everything I need to do to set up my account in Unity and to import the space editor pack. And now I can create as many regions, as many virtual goods items as I want to in here and upload them to my account. And the first place those objects will appear when I upload them, and all of the other tutorials in this series will show you how you go about doing that, is they'll appear on our preview server, so you can look at them in private, and then you can also then submit them to the live servers. So that's a basic overview of how to set your account up. There's one last thing I'm going to show you, which is once you've started to create content, you'll want to be able to review what assets you own and manage them. And so there is another website that you can come to, which is called curator.sine.space. And when you've created your account, you can log in here. I'm actually going to log in with a different account here, just so that I can show you something that already has content attached to it. But you'll see here you've got links to the wiki and things like that and the other video tutorials. Here you've got your API keys, you've got your profile, and then here you can see I've got the items that I've created. So I've got skins and regions and so on and so forth. And as I say, when you first upload them, you'll upload them to our preview server, which is creator.sine.space, where you can check them out, make sure you're happy with them, test any multi-person components that you can't test on the desktop. And then if you're happy with what you've got, you click send to review, and it will either go directly to the live server without review, or it may be reviewed internally by our staff, depending on your subscription level with us. So that curator.sine.space website is there for you to review your content, and indeed as you start selling stuff, if you are a merchant, you'll also get your reports on what has sold here as well, and see the invoices that we procedurally generate to allow you to cash out. Okay, so the next set of tutorials that you can watch will show you how to create and submit clothing, how to create and submit regions, but I hope this is a useful introduction to setting up the account and setting up Unity.